Tom Lebecki here. We're actually here in LA broadcasting the continuation of our New Theory podcast. Now, I'm going to mess up the name. It's Chinwe Osuagwu.
Yes,
I did it.
you
Chinwe,
did it, Tom.
that's it. So Chinwe is joining us. She is a experiential leadership instructor who has a very interesting concept who leads fast-growing companies and trains those leaders. So Chinwe, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up and your formative years?
Sure. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York,
Nice.
of Nigerian born parents,
Nice.
Grace and Harold. Go figure. That's why
Nice.
my name is where it is Nigerian ethnic, but you don't hear the accent. And spent most of all my life there in New York until I went to school upstate New York at the University of Rochester in SUNY Buffalo, and then started my professional career in the DC area.
Okay. So Brooklyn born, DC area. Did you do the corporate thing, for a bit, learn the trade, and then hung your shingle, or did you hang your shingle kind of earlier on? Walk us through that.
Sure. So I started off actually in information technology and IT.
Okay.
So I went to school for computer science, studied computer science, started off as a trainer in software that we use today, Word, Excel, then went into the more programming. And that's when I started to have my connection with corporate America. So I started to work with big companies, also partnered a lot with Microsoft because we were programming their products. And we went into organizations and kind of made their job easier with the software they're using. So they had custom requirements, and I would work in that. And I used to be the liaison between the client and the programmer, and also do programming. And then at a certain point, I moved up and had my own team, and that's where I kind of got my love in developing people and leadership and what it takes to really make a successful team.
Okay. So you cut your teeth. I'm gonna call it project management, but you also hit
Okay.
the keyboard as well, which gives you different aspects. And then you decided to launch a leadership training company. Now, experiential leadership. So experiential, like for example, I'm in LA. I did an escape room yesterday. It was a lot of fun. Experiential's hot right now, and entertainment and so forth. So how does it apply to leadership and leadership training?
Sure. So one of the things that happens in workshops that I facilitate is that leaders come in and we have patterns. We don't realize we have patterns that show up. And what we do is we do activities like you did the escape yesterday.
Yes.
We'll do activities whether we're doing with chairs or ropes or blindfolds. We'll do an activity. And in that activity, whether let's say there's one activity I do for communication where all the leaders are blindfolded and they're having to figure out what shape each person has to figure out the missing piece. But what they learn in that activity is they see their patterns on how they communicate. Are they talking over each other? Are they shutting down? Are they getting frustrated? So you get to see a lot of immediate patterns by creating a situation at work in a fun activity you're not thinking about, so your real patterns can come out. And then what we do is we debrief after. That's the real gold in it. Then we get to talk about what were you feeling, what are your thoughts, what was the strategy, what was missing, what are some parallels that you can take to work. And then that's where they really hone in and get the learning. And I found that that becomes a little bit more sustainable than just sitting up and lecturing.
Okay, so but you're a little bit ahead of the curve, and because we chatted a little bit offline, where the old days, the good old days, which are gone. If you do, the training manager, you went as a principal, or you had a hotshot rep, you signed a six figure, maybe even a seven figure deal. You become their training model and call it a day. Nowadays, I think those days are gone. Right
Hmm.
now, it's
Hmm.
about selling the packages, training a trainer, using technology. So you seem to be ahead of the curve. Maybe it's because of your IT background. So give us how you're a little bit different than that traditional company that comes in with the overpaid consultants, because you seem a little bit different in terms of
Okay.
content, but you also seem different in terms of modality. So walk us through that.
Sure. So one of the program that I have now that's directed that you talked about earlier, that's directed for fast growing companies, it looks at learning at different levels. So one, it's the live learning. but then it's also the one-on-one coaching sessions virtually, and then it's also a social network where you keep in touch with the peers that you talk to, and then also the actual conversations you may have doing group project based thing for your work, because in the classroom you have you're taken out of that environment at work, and so you do that in the classroom, and then it's like, how do you take that back into the workplace? So we have like project associated things that you do between our modules that kind of allow you to apply the learning, but also take your company to another step. So that's how we kind of, instead of just coming in and working with a company, and we do that, there's a division, we do that, but we still do that differently. We like to do this modular learning where you come in, learn a piece of theory, you go out, you stay connected through social network, and then you come back and talk about how you applied it, what needs to be tweaked, and you go on with the new set of learning.
Okay, what's fast growing by revenue?
Say it again.
When you describe fast growing, that means revenue?
Oh yeah, I look at the ink list. I look at the top ink list. So whoever has the greatest how they do it by revenue, but I also look at how many people you have in your company too. So if you really need this kind of training, because if you only have like 4 people, I think leadership training is needed, but you might really not have the need for it. So it's going to be revenue, and also in the need of more people too, employees. You need to start bringing in more employees.
All right. How do you get your business? Inbound, SEO, social media, you do a talk and people walk up to you, or are you, have an outbound program where you have somebody dial up the Inc. 5000?
Right. It's mostly dial up and networking events. A lot of going into network. LinkedIn, I use LinkedIn a lot. And it's really just staying connected with your professional network. I get a lot of referral business, and I get a lot of people that I know. So that's it. I haven't dealt a lot with the SEO. I'm trying to get into that.
Yeah.
But mostly mine is more talking, going to events, being a speaker at events. That's where I get my referrals.
Okay, so you have more of an outbound program, which is good. Which is good. From my opinion, and it can go a few different ways.
Okay.
You can always really kind of establish yourself on social media. Film yourself, give wisdom, give pearls. YouTube. That's one way. That's more of a
Okay.
content marketing approach. And then with that, you can add some SEO in to have some people reach out to you. But it's tricky though, because you're in a tough space, because if you're trying to get ahead of, Tony Robbins and, the Dale Carnegies, it might, raise your acquisition cost. So that's interesting in terms of, and probably another discussion in terms of a strategy of acquiring clients at your level. Now, are you I mean, listen, you're an entrepreneur. You're never going to be fully satisfied, but are
Right.
you okay with your client load as is? Are you, super actively acquiring clients, or maybe you're expanding too quickly? Like, walk us through where you're at, and
Sure.
yeah, where you're at
So
there.
right, so right now I had like a little dip 2 years ago. So I'm building up again. So I'm not at a place where I'm happy with my active client load, which kind of inspired me to create this program. So I always have, private clients and something else going on public. So I would say I'm actively looking to build it up to a healthy place. So I am doing a lot more. You call it outbound marketing. I know that's your specialty. So I'm doing that. I'm doing a lot of the networking events. I'm just getting wet in SEO. I'm just learning about it. I know I'm behind the curve in it because I've heard a few of your episodes. So I'm just getting wet, listening to podcasts, learning what other people are doing on just being that expert, but really trying to find a niche, because like you said, I would be foolish to think I could compete with Anthony Robbins at this point, but really trying to find a niche that is not being taken care of. And I feel like that fast growing company, when it comes to leadership development, they're not thinking about leadership development when they need to start thinking about leadership development.
And that's a great point. And I always say Noah built his ark when it was sunny, not when it was raining. So, how do we find you?
And for the program that I'm talking about, it's called Trusted, and it's at rocksolidleaders.com.
I like that. And then can I find you on there, or do you have your own branded site yourself?
Yeah, you can find more information about me. You just click on facilitator. But I am on LinkedIn. My name's spelled out, and I also have my company site. My company site is trustedteams.com.
That's a great URL. Well, I'm going to give you some advice, for free advice.
Sure.
You're already doing SEO. So by virtue of doing this, we're going to put a link. That's SEO. The fact that this content's going to be out there, it's going to be optimized, on YouTube, Google Play. So just to give you some advice, just keep doing you. The people, don't get me wrong. We love our retainers and we want to make a lot of money on my agency side. But the same token with you, you just got to get your message out and
Right.
get your message out congruent to the medium that works. And you're doing it right now. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tom. That means a lot coming from you. So
I,
thank you.
I really appreciate it. So we're going to be in touch. I know we are. We do a lot of roundups. I would love your contribution, and I'm also going to invite you. And if you listen to my podcast, I don't do this every time. You feel free to contribute anytime. Any videos, audios, articles, get them to me. I'll post them. I'll put links to your site because I know you have a lot to offer, and we appreciate you having on the show.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, Tom. Enjoy LA.
Be well. Talk soon. Be
Okay,
well.
take care. Bye bye.
Ciao.